Amid escalating fears of all-out Iran-USA war across the Persian Gulf region, an IRGC-linked media outlet has issued a fresh and chillingly specific threat directly targeting American military forces positioned within the sovereign territory of allied Qatar. A prominent Telegram channel explicitly affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps publicly claimed to have precisely identified and geolocated a luxury hotel currently housing relocated U.S. troops and commanders operating within Doha. These menacing developments were urgently reported by Iran international correspondents, specifically citing the incendiary posts originating from the regime mouthpiece Sipa Pastoran channel dedicated to psychological warfare operations. The provocative IRGC channel asserted that senior U.S. military commanders had been hastily relocated from their primary operational headquarters at Al Udeid Air Base, specifically following credible intelligence about imminent security concerns and assassination threats. The threatening post further suggested that America had covertly moved its crown jewel Central Operations Room coordinating CENTCOM regional warfighting from the vulnerable massive airbase directly into this exposed luxury civilian hotel compound. IRGC-aligned regime media openly mocked this alleged defensive relocation maneuver as nothing more than a clumsy and desperate tactical repositioning, deliberately framing the move as glaring evidence revealing America's fundamental operational vulnerability throughout the theater. The menacing message also delivered explicit warnings declaring that hastily relocating critical military assets into densely populated civilian areas provides absolutely zero protection whatsoever against inevitable and precisely targeted Iranian ballistic missile retaliation campaigns. By publicly naming and doxing the specific Sheraton Hotel Grand Doha through satellite imagery and street view analysis, the IRGC brazenly signaled sophisticated real-time surveillance capabilities precisely calibrated to deter and expose U.S. interventionist preparations. This marked a sharp and unprecedented escalation from Tehran's earlier series of generalized Iranian warnings threatening American regional military infrastructure, which traditionally avoided pinpointing specific operational target identification throughout previous psychological operations. Al Udeid Air Base, positioned in the Qatari desert, remains the largest and most strategically vital U.S. military facility throughout the entire Middle East, accommodating 10,000 personnel alongside B-52 bombers and F-35 squadrons just 300 kilometers from Iranian missile fields. Iran has repeatedly broadcast through official military channels that all exposed U.S. military bases scattered throughout the Middle East from Bahrain through Kuwait would immediately become priority ballistic missile targets should Tehran suffer direct attack from American or Israeli forces. In direct response to Tehran's cascade of explicit threats saturating state media, U.S. Central Command ordered non-essential personnel stationed across all vulnerable Mideast bases to conduct temporary precautionary evacuations to disperse high-value targets defensively. Earlier this week, Iranian and Qatari officials engaged in discussions against the backdrop of alarming reports that more than 2,000 protesters had been killed during clashes with security forces. Tehran's stark warnings coincided with a period of heightened tensions with Washington, largely driven by the ongoing domestic unrest and the international condemnation of Iran's crackdown on protesters. Amid Iran's unprecedented public threats specifically targeting U.S. allies hosting coalition bases, key Arab states successfully prevented imminent American attack plans against Tehran through frantic backchannel diplomacy, according to Wall Street Journal Repo. Saudi Arabia, alongside Qatar, Oman, and Egypt, urgently warned Washington through classified communications that launching airstrikes would catastrophically trigger uncontrollable wider regional instability engulfing global energy markets for decades. Notably, even Israel privately advised President Trump against authorizing premature attacks upon Iranian territory during closed-door consultations with Netanyahu's national security staff, according to multiple well-placed regional intelligence sources. Israel reportedly stated frankly through secure channels that Israel's forward multilayered missile defenses simply weren't robust enough throughout their southern and eastern sectors to absorb Tehran's certain massive retaliatory ballistic missile counterstrikes saturating national airspace. Israel also communicated clearly to the Oval Office that while Tel Aviv fundamentally backs revolutionary regime change sweeping Iran's streets, military decapitation strikes alone demonstrably won't suffice to achieve lasting strategic objectives against the clerical deep state. President Trump received comprehensive classified briefings from skeptical Joint Chiefs detailing America's genuine shortage of immediately available military resources capable of simultaneously significantly damaging hardened Iranian nuclear infrastructure while protecting exposed U.S. interests. After this sobering high-level Pentagon huddle assessing all kinetic operational realities, President Trump publicly signaled against launching immediate attacks on January 16, carefully noting through social media that reports indicated regime killings against protesters were finally beginning to ease strategically.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution.
I wanted to get the White House reaction to Iranian state TV broadcasting an implicit threat to the president's life. It was images of the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, according to reports, with the message, "This time it will not go wrong."
I have not seen that, to be honest with you, Jackie. We'll take a look, and I'll let the president and his national security team examine that footage to ensure its legitimacy. Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. What I will say with respect to Iran is that the president and his team have communicated to the Iranian regime that if the killing continues, there will be grave consequences. And the president received a message, as he revealed to all of you and the whole world yesterday, that the killing and the executions will stop. And the president understands today that 800 executions that were scheduled and supposed to take place yesterday were halted. And so the president and his team are closely monitoring this situation, and all options remain on the table for the president.
Netanyahu encouraged him against strikes.
Look, it's true that the president spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu, but I would never details about their conversation without giving the expressed approval by the president himself.
Two quick questions on Iran. I wanted to ask first, just if you can say, how close was the president to potentially launching strikes last night, and was it the Gulf states that convinced him not to do that, as some of the region there have said?
Well, look, Kelly, I know there's been a lot of speculation in the media about what the president is going to do at any given moment or any given night. And I would say a lot of these stories, to be honest with you, I've been reading them, and they've been based on anonymous sources who are pretending or guessing to know the president's thinking. The truth is, only President Trump knows what he's going to do, and a very, very small team of advisors are read into his thinking on that. And as I just told you, he continues to closely monitor the situation on the ground in Iran. And as we saw yesterday, he had heard that the killings and executions would stop, and we have seen 800 people, their lives have been spared as a result of